If you've ever felt like the third wheel, this podcast is for you.
If you love Wheel of Time, this podcast is for you.
If you're bored and have nothing better to do, this podcast is for you.
Join Rob,
Megan,
And Jen.
in celebrating the Wheel of Time
And its statistically best fandom.
and ridiculous gaming skills,
and probably a few cocktails.
and find out which one of them will be the third wheel this time.
This is
three-wheeling.
Hey! Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello!
Hi, everyone.
Did you hear that new voice, everybody? Not new voice, Elizabeth. That sounds like they'll be joining us forever. Special guest voice.
But today it is a fourth wheel, so we will not ride off the tracks.
Yes. You hope we won't ride off the tracks, Jen. So.
Hopefully not.
Yes, folks. Today we are sitting down with Jan Petrina, the stunt coordinator for Wheel of Time. I'm super excited about this.
Hi, everybody. And I'm so excited as well. And thank you so much for having me.
We're thrilled to have you here. Like I've been lucky enough to meet you one time in Prague, and it was wonderful then. And I'm excited to just have a chat and hang out with you. So thank you so much for being here.
You're very welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Meg, Jen, how are you two doing?
We're good. I'm good. And also, I realize I am the third wheel today because I'm actually not wearing my three-wheeling shirt. I'm wearing my G shirt for Gia Toe, but I am not wearing my three-wheeling shirt. So I missed the memo again.
Hey, Meg, what are you drinking?
I am drinking something that is called Wake from the Dream. The inspiration for this was since we have our esteemed guest, Jan, who is the stunt coordinator. Obviously, Jan works a lot with the Aiel. So I was like thinking Aiel cocktail, and then I recently discovered something called a breakfast martini, and it is absolutely delicious. So
I feel like Aiel would drink a breakfast martini. I feel like this fits, yes.
So we're not waking from the dream in the sense that we're dying, but we're waking from the dream in the morning. So this is the recipe.
That's the breakfast one.
Yeah, so this is the breakfast, yes. So the recipe is in a shaker. I do not put ice in first. So in a shaker, I pour 1.5 ounces of gin. Okay, well, I'll go through this and then I'll explain the whole thing. So 1.5 ounces of gin, 1/2 ounce of orange liqueur, 1/2 ounce of lemon juice, and then 1 teaspoon of orange marmalade. You may muddle it. I just stirred it very vigorously. Okay. Then I added the ice and shook. And then I double strained it into a glass. And then you squeeze with the orange peel and then, rub it around the rim and then put it in for a garnish. Now, when I was making it, because I hadn't made it before this point, it barely filled my martini glass. So I actually made it a double. So you do you. So anyway.
All right. As always, listeners, we promote responsible drinking, but enjoy the double. I'm going to give you your ASMR moment, whereas I continue to drink the rocky road because Wheel of Time is on its rocky road. So, there we go. And now we've all had breakfast, apparently. Let's have some fun.
I kind of makes breakfast the best, though.
Yeah, yes. I agree.
It's delicious.
Definitely.
We get together at a convention in Columbus every year, Jan. It's the one that all three of us can actually attend because of schedules and things. And Meg makes up batches, especially this year, made up batches of cocktails that she does for the podcast. And they're delicious and dangerous all at the same time. And it's a very good night.
Well, you obviously all survived it, so.
Yes.
How was the next day?
The next day was a challenge.
Some people only had 1 Hills of Tanchico, and then they couldn't have any more. So
I had at least 2 Hills of Tanchico. So yeah,
you had way more than that.
There we go. Light Blinded Fool was also there. And he's put in chat, I refuse to remember the next day. So
yes.
Awesome. Jan, I'd love to kick it off because I don't know the answer to this question. I would love to know how you got into doing stunt work. How did that become a thing for you?
That I don't even remember. It's been so long time ago. I was 16 years old. And I was in high school, and I always liked to do, crazy stuff since I was little. like my parents would be go to school because I would be rolling down the stairs as a little kid, and they would be all dirty and say, "Well, can you talk to him? Like he's doing all of this stuff." And so I always loved doing stunts and this kind of things. And then when I was 16, I happened to go to the same gym as the owner of the stunt team in Prague in Czech Republic, and he was doing a film called Swing Kids, and he needed some young boys there for as a Hitler Jugend fighting the kids that were doing all the dance and stuff. And he asked me if I did any sports, and at that point I did judo when I was younger, and then I did taekwondo later. So I told him yes, and I would love to come and see the training and try to join you guys. So he brought me in, and after the training said, "Well, you can stay, you can keep coming to your trainings, and I'll use you for this movie. And if you stay and keep working, hard enough, you'll get more work and stuff." So that's what I did. I did finish my high school, and then after high school, like 2 or 3 years later, I ended up doing just stunts. So that's all I know. That's all I'm doing all of my life. So if someone asks me what I can do if I don't do this job, I'll probably be able to do nothing else. But it has been fun, and I feel very fortunate to do a career like that and do what I like. And so it's the hobby became the job, and job became the hobby.
Wow.
I love that. That's actually there's a Robert Frost poetry quote from a Robert Frost poem that says exactly that. It says, "When my avocation and my vocation can be as my two eyes make one in sight." And I have always loved that as well, like making your hobby your job and your job your hobby, because you got to do it all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
I agree. There's not many people are still doing the job. They started at 16. They're still doing it later in life. My first job at 16, I'm definitely still not doing that one. So
I may go back to mine. It was scooping horse poop at a barn. So
that's
very well may find myself.
Do you know what? Actually, that's what mine was as well.
But that's a passion as well.
It is a passion for me. I don't think it is for Rob.
It wasn't for me. No, that's for true. I like horses, but scooping poop was not a passion. So. Cool. Meg, Jen, I don't know who wanted to go next.
Maggie, go.
Okay. So let's see. So this was kind of a process question. So when you're coming up with like a whole fight sequence or whatever, do you choreograph it on your own first, or is it more of like a collaborative thing with the team, or how does that work?
It is. I get a little idea from talking with the director and with Rafe, for example, on Wheel of Time, what, how big the sequence they imagine to be and what kind of like style they would like it to be, based on the books and, all of these like characters that's been there for like so long. And then I sometimes didn't even have idea that they existed before, So we talk a little bit and I get a little idea and I speak to it was Roman Spachel, who was our fight choreographer for all of these 3 seasons. So I talked to him, and he starts coming up with ideas and put things together. There is also Marek Svitek, who was another coordinator that was working together with me. So it's kind of it is always a teamwork, and then you start building up and then showing bits and pieces to the masters. And if they like it, then kind of continue start building on top of that. So it is definitely collaboration of more people and the whole team.
I'd love to jump on that one, because then I kind of have a question about how the process of that goes, which is, I know that I know on the show you have some actors who are doing some of their own stunts. I know the actors have been training really hard for many months to get ready for those things. Do you find that you are also like gearing some of those stunts, like, we'd really love to see this, but this actor can't do it, but they want to do something, so we'll change it a little bit, or how does the actors' both experience and ability play into that as well?
We do it quite a lot, especially like on show like this. When you get the actors, that's what happened on the first season. We had them for a boot camp, and then you kind of go overall how fit they are, what their natural movement is, and you try to build on their natural abilities. So you kind of try to choose the style that would suit them, so you don't push them to do something that is kind of against their move and stuff. So that's how you start. And then of course there are some stunts that the guys would love to do, but they're not allowed to do because they would be too dangerous, and we would be risking that maybe the production stops and stuff. So sometimes it's sad because they could do it, and you could do it. They could do it safely. You could look after them, but then they're just not allowed to do it. It's not like Tom Cruise or someone that if something happens,
Can just say he'll
they've
do
got
it.
the money to stop and then continue later. So it's
Sure.
kind of it's sad sometimes because but we did a lot with them actually. So
Yeah.
I was honestly thinking about Tom Cruise when you said that because he was not him, but someone was talking about another actor was talking about some of the stunts you do are crazy. Like, how does that work out? Like this stunt, how did you do that? And Tom Cruise, he's imitating Tom Cruise, and in the comment he says, "So I go to the stunt guy and I said we're going to do this, and I'm going to be like, for example, attached to the side of a plane or whatever the stunt was," and the stunt guy says, "Can't do that. It's too dangerous." So I get a new stunt guy,
yeah.
And I was like, only Tom Cruise could really do something like that,
Right.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think he's got his own insurance company. So if something happens, well, something like that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. He
because
can
no
do
one would
whatever he
insure
wants.
him, or no one would insure the project if something happens. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's the one doing everything, so that makes sense.
Yeah. It's kind of a dream job to work on that, but it could also be a nightmare. So I think, it's.
I mean, and he is obviously like trained to be able to
Yeah.
do a lot of the stuff, which is great. But I can imagine that there is a level of stress involved on a Tom Cruise
It
film.
must be, and so much responsibility of everybody else trying to make it work, and of course keep it as safe as you can. And it's like no one is questioning his ability to do his own stunts, but still stunts, even though stunts doing them can be dangerous. So
Yeah,
sometimes some accidents happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
they do. I remember seeing on Magdalena's Instagram last year she had the motorcycle accident, and then it felt like 2 weeks later she was doing backflips again.
She was with me on the show, and she was going to work, and she had the accident, and then she joined me for the next job, and she was assisting me, so it helped her to get better while not having to do like full time or full on stunts. And now she's totally back 100%. So
it's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I actually kind of have a follow on to all of that. I'm curious, on all the stunts that you did for Wheel of Time, what would probably be the most challenging stunt that you did for the show?
I don't know if I would call it challenging stunt, but of course, like Two Rivers Battle with all the amount of people we had, and with very little time to prep things, I was challenging probably like the most, because it was a lot going on. We had some fires in there, and then you need to look after everybody there, and we had some action extras like in the backgrounds and stuff, and you never know if someone accidentally comes in and then mixes up with the stunts, or he comes into the fight where the actors are fighting. So that's a lot of pressure on us as a stunt coordinating team and stuff. So I would say these kind of things. But of course, we also had the underwater scene with Zoe, where she was training with us freediving, and I remember her first time in the pool with us, and until you build the trust that the team is going to look after her when she takes away the regulator and she has no goggles, it takes a little bit of time, because once you have that, then you calm down, and she was really able to be with us. It was about 8 to 10 meters deep, the pool, so it was about 30 feet, and she would go all the way down to her knees with her hands tied behind her back, and she would just breathe in, and she would be able to stay there about a minute all the way down there without asking for any oxygen and stuff. So these kind of things, it doesn't look like a big stunt, but it's challenging for us, because if you can achieve that with the actor, then it's always very rewarding.
Is there a reason you had to have it so deep?
It was just the depth of the pool, and when we started the training, we didn't know what kind of stage or pool it's going to be built for the scene, and she was supposed to be going down quite deep, and originally there was an anchor that was attached to her, and that was taking her down, drowning her, so she was supposed to be coming down. And when we shot it, actually the pool was only about 10 to 12 feet deep, so it wasn't as deep, but we were like practicing all that we could to be prepared for anything that's going to come up, because the time to prep it was very little, and I think that was coming up, I think right after your visit, Rob. We had that little break to talk about season 2, so that was a little break from season 3, and then when we came back, this scene was one of the first ones to come up or to prep, on the side of also the Two Rivers battle and all the Aiel fighting and loyal fighting, all that stuff.
That's
Man.
crazy. It's because that feels like so long ago. It was like 2 years
Yeah.
ago that I was lucky enough to go out for that visit, and to think that you filmed that scene
From 308. Yeah.
from 308
Yeah.
next, like just after
Yeah.
that, I was like, wow, okay, that's kind of that was a little trippy right there.
And so as a big Nynaeve fan and a huge Zoe fan, I remember some of the behind the scenes stuff from season 1 of that epic run that she had to do when she was running away from the Trolloc and she was running through the thing. And I remember her interview being like, she was like, I really like this. And the stunt team saying, she's really good.
Yeah.
Didn't she
I
run faster
imagine-
than the camera or something? Like,
She runs too
I
fast. I remember
think
that.
so. Like because they all it's like you bring them to the stage and okay, let's do the training, and then it feels like once the camera rolls, they actually give it twice as much.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
and then you feel like the Trollocs are chasing and all that stuff. So you kind of get the feeling, okay, I'm running for my life, and they just give it so much more. Like, and I understand that. So.
Yeah.
And she actually did great in the water. Also, season 1 when she was fighting that little pool. In the stage, she was in the cave, and with the Trolloc being in there,
Yeah.
that was quite tough time
Yeah.
for her and for the Trolloc guy, because the water gets soaked into the suit, so he couldn't even stand up. It was like the weight of the whole thing was a lot. Like he was dying there in the water for real.
Wow.
That's I have done many years ago. I did when I was younger. I did lifeguard training. Didn't actually become a lifeguard, but I did the training. And one of the parts is they make you jump in the water and trying to rescue someone wearing jeans and a hoodie. And the weight of that is immense, and that's nothing compared to that Trolloc suit heading. So
because the Trolloc suit is like a massive sponge you have. It's made, most of it is made from latex, and of course some pieces are silicone on the face for all the detail, but it just like absorbs all the water. So when you try to get out of the water, like we had to have so many people helping him just to get out.
Oh, that's terrifying.
I can imagine.
it does not look like he was struggling to move in that water. So
No.
that's credit to the particular stuntman doing that. That's amazing.
Well, I'd love to ask about that. Are there particular, either from the coordinating side or even just from the stunt side, are there particular practical costumes that you've been in over the years that you were like, this just made it so much harder, or that made it like really fun?
Well, I did like the 2 Hellboys, the 2 old ones, and that was challenging because the first one, it was mostly just the face, and we would wear a little bit of bodysuit, but then it would be like a muscle suit. But for the second one, we would be like bare chest and stuff, so you would have the suit glued on top of your body, and a lot of the stunts would have to be done with wire work. So you would have to wear in the morning your harness, then you have to make it really tight for the wire work, and then they would put the suit on top of you, so you would end up having 12 hours. And it was Budapest, it was like 35 degrees Celsius, so it was really hot, and you had all of this on you, and then you had to do all the stunts and fights and everything. So that was really hard. I found it hard. And then another one that was a little bit like that was the first Captain America, when we were fighting in the ship with Red Skull. It was it was like a late summer in UK, but it was in a stage, and the ship was built on a massive gimbal, so it was up high in the stage, and I think at that point they were still using normal lights, not the LED, so it was really hot. I think some of the cameras were like, they were breaking, they wouldn't work, so we would end up having just one camera for the fight scene. The whole crew was with shorts and t-shirts, sweating, and we just kept fighting for like 2 weeks with English. So that was another one that was hard.
Oh, that sounds brutal.
Yeah.
And of course, like I didn't even think about the fact, I guess, that film was still done with old lights, and they're just like those lights are insanely hot.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's really
But then you see the scene and how it's filmed and how it ends up, like the final result, and you kind of forget all that work, and and of course you enjoy it. You come home every day and it feels like you've been in sauna all day, but then you take your shower, you lay down, and you feel good about doing, like, you always try to do the best you can, and if it looks good, then it's rewarding.
sure.
I mean, those movies do look good, so that's one of my favorite. Captain America is always one of my favorite movies. Like,
And then Guardians was also like another example. Like we did some of the space work was done underwater in the pool. And Chris Pratt, he's actually like, I think he's really good with scuba diving, so he did a lot of it. Like we would prep it for him, and there was a massive rig for him to fly underwater, which was on a skate, and you would be
Wow.
tied on the skate, and you would be traveling underwater across the whole pool. So if there was any problem, you wouldn't be able to, get out of the water. So they would give you the regulator, the oxygen. You would breathe in, and they would take it out. They would put the mask on. They would have to get all the bubbles away from your head, and then you would travel across the pool slowly, like flying, and we would be arriving to Zoe's dummy, which was there because she was supposed to be kind of sleeping, floating weightless.
Right.
So the scene was very short, but we would spend like 3 days shooting this in the pool.
Wow. It's funny because I knew they shot it in a pool, but I never thought about like you have to wait till all the bubbles from the regulator are completely out of the shot because you can't. They're really hard to get rid of in CG.
Quite big team underwater. Like you got all of these, people swimming next to you and trying to, come in as fast as they can if there is any problem, if the rig stops for some reason, and so it's the little things.
Oh wow!
I think I would panic. Like I literally don't think I could do that.
You would get used to, you would get used to, and once you trust the guys around you, you feel very like confident and very calm.
I can't hold my breath underwater without plugging my nose. So I would die. I would literally die.
They could give you that little clip on your nose, so you not hold it.
There you go. Get it fixed there, Meg. So
there is nothing that the movie industry cannot provide, Meg.
It's true. Well, I mean, I'm a screenwriter now, and producer, but I was an actor for many years, and I've always said, I want to do a Western because I ride horses. I've ridden horses my whole life, but I've always been like, oh, I want to be able to do these stunts, but the part that I missed out on because I moved into producing and writing was when they would pay me to work out for 12 hours a day and get in shape for this stuff. I mean, that's the thing as an actor, we see actors come in and do their own stunts or something. And, like we expect you guys, the stunt guys, to be in that kind of shape. We don't expect the actors to be. And I think there's always this idea that we think that, oh my God, they're so amazing that they can, but it's because they're getting paid to work out with you, and learn
it becomes a lifestyle. Also, it's like a lot of the guys that we would work during the week, we would hang out on the weekends and we would go motocross or skydiving, or, we would do things on the weekends too. So it becomes your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Interesting you should say that, Jan. I know Guy Roberts pretty well. And he always raves about the entire stunt crew. He compliments you all so much. But he said that he thinks he's a good drinker when he wants to go out and celebrate and have a good time and party. And he says, if I go out with the stunt crew, they put me to shame. And then they get up at 6 a.m. and go to work the next day as well and do an amazing job because they're that much of professionals. And I've met one of the guys who plays Shorter Trollocs. Guy described him. He said there's a Shorter Trolloc on screen. It's Charlie who plays him. Because I met Charlie in Prague, and having met Charlie, I can believe that a lot. But are you guys out just always partying and then getting up the next day and work, like going to work type thing, or is it just special occasion? Like you sound like you have a lot of fun just on these trips.
I think it used to be a little bit more than it is now. Like I think when we were in our 20s and 30s, then it would be more. Also, when you're stunting and you don't coordinate it, you just there is a wrap on the set and you go home and you don't have to think about anything else, just to have fun or enjoy your evening. When you coordinate, that is a lot, like you have to go back to your computer, do some paperwork, prepare for the next day. So that kind of takes away takes away the fun after work. So sometimes the guys are like, oh, we're sitting in this place, come and join us. And he's like, okay, I just need to finish this. I just need to finish the budget. Like there are things like that. So it's not as much as it used to be, but in our stunty days, yes, like the stunts would go out, and especially when you're on location. If you're back home, people go back to the families, but then when you travel and you end up, instead of being UK, we would do Assassin's Creed on Malta, then you end up having the team in hotels and apartments. So then usually you go out, have dinner, have some drink, but it's very individual. There are some guys that can handle it better and they do it a lot, and then some they do it once and then they feel like they're never gonna drink again, the usual stuff, and then it takes a while to get back again and drink again. So
I love that. It's just
yeah,
it's just so fun.
I think maybe he also wanted to probably mention Roman, the our fight choreographer, because he's from a fencing group, and these guys, like, I think they're the best in, definitely in Europe with fencing and everything, and they do have a lot of shows and stuff. And I think with the show, when they go for the weekends, I think it's part of the job that they have the drinks in the evening, and then during the day they do all these exhibitions and fight, and then even
Wow.
during the days they probably have some beer and stuff, and then again they party in the evenings. And so I think
Amazing.
they're a lot better trained for this kind of stuff than just the regular stunts.
There we go, folks. Don't go out partying with the stunt people if you have
No.
anything to do the next day, apparently. So
And if you're going to be fencing and drinking apparently do go to well.
apparently,
Go well together. Well, actually, that brings me up to another question, which I know that there's not an easy answer to this, and I'm sure there's pros and cons to both. But I have sort of two different. Which is your preference, or what are the best things or worst things about location versus being at home and being on sets, or and then film versus TV, if there are any like distinct differences between those.
Well, I think location is really, fun because you can relax a little bit, because the only thing you have to do is work, and then you've got time for yourself. And of course, you miss your family, you miss your wives and kids and all that stuff. So there is that kind of balance to find. So I would say location is nice if you go for like 2 weeks. If it's 3 weeks, okay, but then you start missing home and stuff, and then it's not good for family and kids. And then I think wives and the couples, they kind of pay the price, and they have to work hard to be the only parent. So yeah, so I enjoy going away, but not for too long. And of course, being home allows me to have a little bit more free time and spend more time with them.
Yeah.
And then TV and film, of course, film, it's like when we do Wheel of Time, it's you're making 4 films,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
each
yeah, yeah.
director is doing 2 episodes, and you need to prep, like 4 times everything. You have to do meetings about everything 4 times. You have to sometimes prep while you already shoot with the first director, you're prepping the second one, and then the third one arrives and asks questions. And so it's a lot more challenging to do TV than film. Because with film, you just do it once, you have one director, you do all the preps. Once the preps are done, it's all the preps done. So then you start shooting. So it's a lot more relaxing. So I would say work-wise, it's film, it's a little bit easier, and it keeps everybody a little bit calmer and more relaxed. TV is crazy because it's also the shooting schedule is, you've got fight in a TV, you need to do it in a day. You've got fight in a film, you've got 4 days and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
so you have to be a lot more on top of
Yeah.
that than you do.
We've talked about that a lot, of the this premium TV stage that we're in right now, where people sit down and watch something like Wheel of Time, and it is absolutely filmic in quality, all the way down from the acting to the writing to the stunts to the music. Like everything is at a film
Yeah.
level on less of a budget and a tighter schedule.
Yeah.
It's a really tough time, and it's great for the audience. We get beautiful TV, but it's really hard if you're in the industry, because the expectations are really high.
And so much, like when we were finishing season 3, they had to cut down the days so much, and we were finishing it in South Africa, and like for the final fight with Rosamund and Lanfear, like in the desert, it was like 2 days to do the whole thing. So it was very like hard for the cast and everybody else. And so we came up with a stunt unit that was just behind one of those dunes, that we would set up cranes and we would do all the wire work. So when you have Rosamund being blasted, they would drive her quickly over that hill to our unit, and we would shoot her on a green being blasted, and then they would send her back in there. And while she was with us, they would shoot some bits and pieces with Natasha, with Lanfer, and with Daniel, maybe finishing his tumble from the wire work, and then they would send him to us. So it was hard, and it was really hot and windy, and so and you wish that
Yeah.
that sequence would have at least 5 days, 6 days to shoot because it's the finale. But no,
Yep.
there was not really time to do things. So you have to be very resourceful and come up with things that work. So
Yeah. I mean, resourceful is good, but that's that's asking a lot to
Yeah.
do
yeah.
some, really beautiful stuff.
And I think
It,
we were really lucky with the cast of the whole Wheel of Time because I think they put themselves into it. They were not there for the money, I would say. They were there because they loved it. So they would put that extra effort. They would go and work a little harder. They would try to come on their days off and rehearse. So very fortunate.
that's incredible.
That's really amazing.
That sounds like a very stressful way to film, but let me reassure you, it did not look like you rushed it or didn't do it correctly. Like it's magnificent to watch. So it sucks that you had those challenges and those time restraints and the rushing around. That's not fun and that stress, but you and the whole team obviously had enough skill and talent to pull it off because it looks amazing to us to watch. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
it's amazing. Meg, I think you had the next question, didn't you?
Yeah, so speaking of amazing to watch, I mean, season 1, episode 7 with the blood snow, the fandom lost their minds. Like, we really, we did. Like, it was one of the most incredible things like we had ever seen within film or TV in terms of stunt work. Were you surprised by, or did you even know how much we loved it and like what our response to it was?
I could see the response when you look at like the online, rating and then comments on, after the premiere of that episode. So I knew that, like people like it. And that was actually a fight that we had like 4 or 5 days to shoot. So, and I don't think that ever happened again to have this much time to do fight. But also this fight was prepped like 3 times or 4 times because we would prep the whole fight. We would previous the fight on the stage. And then COVID would hit. So we would go home and then had a break. And then we would come again. And then we would prep it and kind of refresh everything again. Did some adjustments, like after talking with Kiaran and speaking about the bolt camera, which is like the super fast camera moving around. And we would previsit with kind of those moves, like a poor man's version of it on the stage, and adjusted the length of it and stuff. And then COVID would hit again for the second time, so we had to break. So I think we had like 2 or 3 breaks, so that made it actually easier for us to shoot it because we already knew the fight like inside out, and then we would end up also rehearsing it on the location with the stones prepped in and with all the rigging and stuff. And some of it I wish we would stay from the previous fight because there was a little bit more wire work, but I think at the end it made more sense because still she was a pregnant girl and doing too much would probably be too superhero and stuff. So it made it feel a little bit more realistic.
Was that your first time working with the Bolt camera?
It was the first time working with the Bolt, and it was actually Kieran's idea. Like the first, like that, the moment he came first and we started to talk about the fight, he said, "I would like to use this camera for those moments that." Also, even when it goes still and you've got these guys in their position looking and checking, each other, like not even fighting. He said, I wanna go around them with that camera. So it kind of feels like a little bit like bullet time, but so it freezes the time and then you can enjoy each little moment and see everyone's face to feel like the fear and what they're thinking and all that stuff. So
yeah,
it's nice to work with him. He's very visual. So, and we were lucky to have him for 4 episodes on the last season.
Yeah, it is the Bolt experience. I think a combination of I spent like an hour and a half comparing the previs that Magdalena put up on Instagram to the actual finished scene with friends on another show. And it was just amazing to see. But I think the combination of what you put together in the previs and how it worked out with the Bolt just really, for me, sold that scene. Like, what Kieran wanted with the just move it around and let it look at people in certain moments was really perfect. It was.
And I think her acting is excellent in there. Like people always say that stunts can't act, but I think she's one of the guys that can.
Yeah.
Not the girl.
I watched Ballerina last month, and Magdalena's
And
in
she's
that as
there
well.
again, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just, the fight scene where they're trying to kill each other. She actually makes her coffee beforehand in the previous part of the scene. And I remember sending her a message and being like, "You got to do more acting. This is amazing." So, because she is a really good actress as well as a great
Yeah.
stunt woman. So, yeah, it's incredibly impressive. Blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I was hoping she could stay with us for the Resident Evil because there is a few parts of the Infected that she would be great at, but she's now on the Dune with Marek, so they're doing and they wanted to do all three of them. So she said, "Oh, I would like to like kind of," and Marek the same. He's actually more like that. He said, "Well, I did the two, so I need to kind of close the whole sequence in my head is like, I think he's a little bit OCD. So he needs to kind of complete the task and then put it behind him." So
That's right.
yeah. Do you just jump project to project, or do you like to do a whole set of something?
I quite like to be here, like home, but I don't know if I understood the question. If I
Do
like to
you?
jump from,
Yeah, so like you say, Marek he did the first two, so he wants to finish the third one.
yeah,
If you had done the first two, but something else came up, Resident Evil, for example, and you
yeah.
were like, Marek, you go do the third one because I'm going to do. Would that matter, or would you be like, I've done the first two, I want to finish the third one as well?
Maybe a little bit, and I think probably on Dune I would love to go there because it's so prestigious as a project, and I love the first two Dunes. I know some people don't, some people love it, so I think I'm on the side of those guys that really like it. I like the way that like Danny, the director, shoots and how he tells the story, and it looks epic. So I love that. So I can wait for the third one to come out.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Me too.
I'm
They're
excited
beautiful.
too. It's a it's a massive improvement on the original movie, but it's just the scale is just epic and it's
Yeah.
great to watch. So yeah, cannot wait.
Yeah, so I would probably not jump to the project if it was something like that. But then, of course, if something interesting would come and would be challenging, I would probably jump it. If I was on a project that it's not, and it's always about the people that work on it, about the whole team, the production team and costume and makeup, everybody else, and that was one of the thing with Wheel of Time. Like there was no really bad egg in the whole team.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It
So
seems like such a great
yeah.
group.
It makes it harder because it's not only the work that you miss, but it's the people, and it's like a massive family that we were together for like 5 years. So and we still like to come back. So that tells something. No one really ran away.
Apple TV, Netflix, save Watt.
Yeah.
Someone, please save Watt.
Honestly, Meg really
Yeah.
does all the posting and tagging of the different studios and things to try and keep getting their attention.
I feel like I just need to fly out and just pitch it to all of the studios. I'm really
I mean, I did put an Apple. I've made a parody for. There's a parody contest in the fandom every year, Jan, and I did a rap song and I threw in a Apple reference to try and because it's a track about basically how Amazon and Sony are wrong to cancel Wheel of Time. So it's good fun. Speaking of that, and I know we spoke about this before we started recording, but you got we sent you the award, not us, but the Tokoromorod crew did a fan award ceremony called the Wheelies, and we finally, thanks to proud customers understanding that it was not some monetary thing and it was just a gift from fans, we finally managed to get your award for the stunt. The stunt award gets sent to you and the team for the mat fight with Galad and Gowan. So I'm so glad that made it to you, and I will pass
Thank
that
you
along
so
to the
much.
others.
And the whole team loves it. So it's such nice that you did something like that. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, we're very passionate. So it was a nice uplifting day because it was planned for the day that the cancellation came out. So it's like, so it was a very nice uplifting thing to still celebrate Wheel of Time that day. But that fight between Galad Gowan and Matt. That was really wonderful to watch, and we were teased a few times in an episode about it. But how do you go about planning a fight like that is going to be such? I mean, I assume you know how important it was going to be to the fans, but Like when you're planning one that's going to be a particularly big, important fight, like do you approach it differently or?
Well, it is again like you try to use what the guys already know. So we would, I mean, Matt, like our actor, like he would be practicing all the time. Like, you know, I know that like we've changed the cast for season 2 and 3, but like the moment, you know, like we get new Matt, like he grabbed the stick and he was practicing all the time. So he was really good. He was like, he loved it, and he kept like anytime he would come for the training, he would be like, okay, at the end of the training, he would grab the stick and he would be spinning the stick and doing things. So he did his homework totally. And then for the two brothers, we actually used bits and pieces that they had in the fight when they showed up for the first time. So there would be some moves that they knew a little bit, and we would just plug, you know, like Matt into it. So that's how we ended up having it really good, because those guys knew what they're doing, and also Matt. So sometimes, you know, things like that help.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually. Oh, go ahead, please.
And also like then it's up to the director and the editors, and you know they can make things much better, or sometimes they can make it worse. So they did a good job.
Well, you may or may not know this about the fandom, but one of the things that we are famous for is watching things in a teaser or a trailer, and then taking a literally like 75 frame clip and looking at it and deciding what's happening. And so because we had been teased the brothers, the first intro scene.
Yeah.
We were all sure it was going to be the Matt scene. So we were looking at some of those moves and how a quarterstaff might work into those moves. So it's clear to us, because we were all pretty sure that we were actually seeing those like where the quarterstaff would fit in. In fact, I think Megan and Rob had a big fight.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Fight is a loose term. We disagreed.
Fight is a loose term.
We disagreed passionately.
Big passionate disagreement about what we were seeing in that.
You know, and sometimes again, because sometimes you get these guys and you get them for 3 days, or you get them for a week, and so you need to do the best you can and utilize the time they have with you. And I think it felt really good. I do like the fight. It's fun to watch.
Yeah,
it is. Great
it's really fun to watch. It was incredibly satisfying for the fandom to see that scene that we had all been imagining since the second book came out in the 90s. It's really, well, some of us who were alive then.
And I think Donald is really good as playing Matt. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is that. I'm not sure if there's anything he can't do. He's a great actor. I've seen him perform in Hadestown, and the guy can sing like nobody's business. And apparently that he can fight a bit as well. So it's crazy. And people have reviewed, like people who are actually weapons experts. Thank you. I think like Blindfold just reminded me of the fact in chat. Have like watched. They go and watch fight scenes in shows and movies and things like that, because they're an expert on how weapons get would move in scenes and get used. And they actually reviewed that, and they said it was extremely realistic in how a quarterstaff would be used to beat two swordsmen. So it doesn't just look good for us who are enjoying just, seeing a scene on TV that we've loved in books, from a perspective of how the weapons are used. Apparently it's supremely realistic as well. So.
And it's also the whole team. It's, Roman and his guys and Andre, who was doubling Donald. Like he didn't have much to do really, because he was doing everything himself, but still, when you're building the fight, he helps to come up with things.
Yeah, that's amazing. Speaking of scenes that we love and the passion for fans reading the books, a lot of the cast started reading the books. Did you ever get tempted to read ahead and be like, what do I have to plan? What crazy battle is coming?
Well, I've got 2 small kids, so I don't get much reading time, but I still have it like as a plan to read all the books. I carried the book with me. I have it next to my bed, and I carried it to South Africa because I thought I'm gonna have more time to do things there. So I keep carrying it with me.
Yes.
It's like I'm like, I didn't want to have the the PDF version. So I need to have that. It needs to be a book. So I keep carrying it everywhere. And I don't have a chance to read it, but
right, it takes up all the space in your suitcase too, because it's so big and so
big
heavy.
Books, yeah.
We've all done the same where we've traveled with those things and they're too big to travel with, but we take
But
them
it is
anyway.
it is on my to-do list, and I should be, I should be ashamed that I didn't read all the books.
No, don't
But it
don't be
is on my
ashamed.
it
It
is
is
on
a
my
big
list.
commitment.
It's a huge commitment. But yeah, if I was working in stunt coordination, I'd probably, as I say, if I had the time, read it to be like, what crazy fight? Because there's some pretty big fights and battles coming out in the later books. So, fingers crossed that you get to be able to plan those and not
I
find them
hope
too
so.
challenging.
Do my
Because
wells.
everybody says that it is like season 3, which is already mixed with book 4, I believe.
Mhm.
It's like that's when it starts. That's when it's like
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
so
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I'll keep tagging all those streamers and shouting very loudly. So
Yes, we will absolutely. So I don't want to keep you too long, and we've already sat around for nearly an hour here. Meg, Jen, do you have any last questions you want to wrap up with?
I was gonna say, did you have a favorite stunter scene that like you did or worked on?
you mean on Wheel of Time?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I really loved like it would be like in season 1 when we had Eggman pushed in the river. I really loved that because we were like scouting the location, and then we had the producer saying, okay, well, we're gonna have some swimmer jumping in the water, and we'll do it like once or twice, and then we ask how deep the water is and how cold it is, and it was quite high, and they would say, oh, it's like 1.5 meters, but sometimes it's less. So it's not really deep. So we're talking about 1.5 meters would be like what, 6 feet or something. So it
Yeah,
wasn't
not
deep
even
enough.
that. Yeah, it's more like five
And
feet. Yeah.
and they said we cannot bring any machines for rigging. And our key rigger Tomas Reed, while he was with us for all the 3 seasons, he said, oh, we can use the environment. And they set up like a massive line between trees that were so far away, and build this rig that allowed actually Maddie doing her own stunts. And she was there, and she did it like 10 times or maybe more. Like she would be standing there talking with Zoe, and then Zoe would push her, and then she would be falling in, and we would stop her just on the edge. So she would sometimes touch the water just slightly with her feet to keep her dry, so we could save ourselves for the reset of the costume and everything else. So she did it so many times, and then we only did one with the stunty to drop her in the water. But
Wow.
so the stunty did end up being hitting the water at the end, but also on the wire rig, so that way we didn't have to chase her along the river. It was quite fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like the season 1, and I feel like we had a little bit more time on season 1 because it was like the show was starting, and we were allowed for a little bit more time to develop the stunts and fights and everything. And then season 2 was quicker, and then season 3 was crazy. Like the schedule was even tighter. I think they cut out like nearly 2 months of the shooting schedule just to make up for the budget and stuff. So we would be overlapping the units, and so it was crazy.
That is-
Wow.
But it would be one of those things that when you see the actress and doing, and it looked scary. You look at that little gap in between those 2 rocks with the water, and then you hope that the wire is gonna hold, and the stunt is gonna do the job well. And it was the beginning of the show, so she didn't know us really, and she did.
That's
She did do
amazing.
it. So
I was just rewatching that. I was just rewatching that clip. It's so good, and I love that you said like Zoe was talking to her because she just seems surprised every time. I mean, we only see one take of it, but it just seems like she was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, everything's great, butterflies and sunflowers."
I'm getting my braid.
yeah,
So good, so good.
Yeah.
We love you, Maddie.
We do. We love them all.
yeah. She had to suffer a lot with the 2 seasons with all the choking and the prison and stuff, and I think that was tough scene for her because she had to really act like beaten up and destroyed, and plus physically it was hard, and so I think
Yeah.
she had a lot of stress, coming to work with that, and
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific. Rosamund Pike, I remember, answered a question about what was most difficult to film in the season, and she talked about filming death scenes. So I can only imagine filming torture scenes is right
Yeah.
up there, the same sort of situation.
yeah. And it was one of the rigs that Thomas Napper came with, the one that, keeps rolling and then you see the different deaths and stuff. So it was amazing idea of Thomas. And of course, there is no really space for Stuntable to do much because the camera was so close. So it was Rosamund rehearsing and doing all the death and stuff. And same with Natasha and Yosha. So it was tough. And some of it we had to do also in South Africa in the dunes. So they would practice, dying in the dunes, and they would be digging holes for the camera to be able to hide and then come up and then disappear again. And so it was windy and they had lots of sand coming to their faces.
Yeah.
And they still did it. So
incredible.
One of our friends who's watching in chat said something about what's more Aiel than a stunt team hiding behind a dune.
Yeah.
It's very accurate. It's very on brand.
Thank you.
Absolutely on brand. Jan, thank you so much for hanging out with us and answering our questions. It's been wonderful to talk to you.
It was absolute pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're always welcome back if you ever want to come and hang out again. Anytime.
I would love to. If you come up with more questions you have, I'll happily answer all that I can.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Well, when Apple picks up Wheel of Time, we'll get you back for an update. So
let's hope so. Yeah, I hope that we get to do some more in the future, and we end up having a little bit more of these chats and talk about season 4 and 5, and
Yes.
all the other comics. Thank you guys for fighting and putting so much out for all of us, for all the Wheel of Time fans and everybody.
Wow,
it really is the best cast and crew out there. I truly believe that.
Well, and thanks again.
You are very welcome. I say that like I made it and sent it, but the folks who put it together, I know that. Thank you,
talkies.
Happy, the talkies are great, and Mel got it printed and sent over and stuff like that. So it's we're so glad it could get you, and so you can see some of our appreciation. So. Folks, thanks for listening today. I hope you've enjoyed. Please follow us on all our social medias. You can find us on Blue Sky at freewheeling.malktalks.com or on Instagram at 3.wheeling. You can find our individual accounts in the show notes. And go rate and review everything, and then go and visit savewhat.com, sign the petition if you haven't, obviously, and follow all the actions there, because we're not going to stop. We're noisy. We're going to keep shouting about it, and we're gonna keep doing it until all the time comes back. So I think that's about it. Anything else? I haven't missed anything, have I? No?
Thank you so much, Jan.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much again, guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to chat again.
I would love that. I would love that so much. So, all right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Once again, we've proven that even when you're the third wheel,
You can always find a place to fit in.
Join us next time
On 3 Wheeling.
on 3 wheeling.
on Freewheeling.